Hello, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Wolf, Editor-in-Chief of Chain Drug Review and Mass Market Retailers. Welcome to our video forum. Today, we're thrilled to have as our guest Sharon Sternheim, President of Zitomer, which is one of the more interesting drugstore retailers in the United States. Sharon, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
The word unique is often overused and misused, but I think in the case of Zitomer, it is appropriate. Maybe you could tell our audience, people who haven't been fortunate enough to visit your store, what you offer and how it differs from what people usually think of as a drugstore or a pharmacy.
Well, I think the first thing you notice when you walk through our doors is that we have a doorman who wears white gloves. So the word white glove service definitely comes into play from the very beginning. We know you from birth. Most of our customers have been there since they were babies. They've gone to school in the neighborhood, they've raised their children, they then become grandparents, and the cycle continues.
Mhm.
It's a real staple on the Upper East Side. We've been in business for, now we're celebrating our 71st year in business. It's just amazing that it's just a known entity that I think, and I truly believe that people cannot live without.
Maybe you could describe the store. You're on 3 levels, which is unusual.
So it's multi-leveled. The first floor, as you walk in, it's jewelry, cosmetics, and pharmacy, health and beauty aids. And we actually, I think, even before the Dwayne Reed and the CVS's, we were selling food. Because we have neighborhood schools, we always saw that at 12 o'clock lunchtime and 3 o'clock lunchtime, the children would come in and line up at the candy counter, and we felt that we needed more than just candy. So we started getting into yogurt and sandwiches and all the other snacks, and it just boomeranged, and we gave it more footage. And we still have 3 refrigerated units just for food and 2 major ones for beverages and ice cream.
It's amazing how innovations often start at the small chains.
Yeah, and as my needs grew as a consumer, me myself, I then went into different categories in the store. So when I was single, or not single, when I first got married and I didn't have children, I never thought of taking in children's clothing or toys. But as my needs grew, I felt build it and they will come, and it worked. So there was more space in the building, and I devoted 5,000 square feet to toys and named the toy department Zittles. And, you know, FAO Schwartz has closed. There's really no other toy department, and the parents bring their children to Zittles prior to a doctor appointment, or definitely it's something that they say to them, well, after we go to the doctor, we'll take you to Zittles, so they don't mind going to the doctor. And we believe in educational toys and a lot of books, even though nowadays people only want computers for the, you know, the children only want their phones, but we're still into a lot of arts and crafts and educational toys.
You're also heavy into apparel, am I correct?
So the second floor is 5,000 square feet of apparel. We do lingerie, and it was funny because during COVID, you know, nobody got dressed up and everyone was in leisure attire, and that was our forte to begin with. So it was just, it was amazing that we were able to sell all the jogging suits and the sweatpants and the socks, and we had it all. So it was really great.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about your thought process when you look at new areas. I mean, it was obviously a pretty bold step for you to go into apparel to that degree, or to go into toys. How do you consider new opportunities in new categories?
You know, I don't know, maybe I'm just lucky, but I have an innate feeling for what's happening in the neighborhood, and I'm well traveled as far as my buying. We fly to Paris a lot. I go to all of the gift shows, all of the NACDS shows, and buying is a major part of my title. And I just see what's hot and new, and I don't mind taking a risk. And normally it works out. I mean, we even went into, I built a bakery, believe it or not, within the store for dogs.
Okay.
And we did bar mitzvahs and matrimonies, and everyone has a dog, and somehow or other their dogs lead them into Zitomer too. So very big in the pet area also. It just has always worked out. And again, once I had a child, aside from the toys, I went into layette. And, you know, aside from the child needing pajamas, you always need to give a gift for a baby. And that's what a neighborhood store is all about. It's like a one-stop shopping.
When I come into your stores, one of the things that always strikes me is the extent of the beauty and personal care area and the brands that you carry. Maybe you could talk a little bit about your mix and how you manage to build the relationships with suppliers that drug chains usually don't deal with.
So we do consider ourselves a mini department store. And because of our clientele and the fact that we have a button in 3 of the major hotels, the Surrey, the Mark, and the Carlisle, most of the vendors want to be in my store. You know, the way it's set up is very unique. It's a beautiful setting. I believe that my cosmeticians are the best that are out there. They do not work on commission. So because of that fact, they're selling you what you really need, not because they're making money on it. And the way we showcase the different lines, it's not a problem getting all the best brands in my store. And I don't want the lines that everyone else has. I want those that are unique and that I feel are well branded.
And obviously you deal with all the established big names.
Yes, we have the Chanel's, the Lauders, you know, the L'Oreal, every great line that's out there, and a lot of the new green lines that are out there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if you were scanning the horizon for up and coming brands as well.
Yes, as a matter of fact, for the grand opening, we took in like 3 major big lines. That was a real coup to get, and I'm really excited that we're going to have it. Just an item like CBD, I could promise you, I think I was the first drugstore, certainly amongst the big chains, to take in CBD. I know it was risque, and as a matter of fact, we couldn't even put it on our website because Google would have thrown us out. But it worked. I believe in it. I think any holistic area that you could go into is good for your well-being. And I know it works, having taken it myself. And that in itself was a risk, but I think a lot of people have jumped on the bandwagon. And as you know, it's like everywhere now. But we were one of the first ones to have it.
Yeah, well, I think that reflects the spirit that you've shown all along, and taking some chances and bringing in new things.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Obviously, you're big on brands, national brands, international brands. How about private label? Where does that fit into the business model?
So Zitomer has its own private label. We do our own vitamins, not too much health and beauty aids, but we have our own cosmetic line that's called Z New York. It's the second best line in my store.
Wow.
And it works. You know, the Zitomer name, we stand behind it, and it's very fashion forward. Color-wise, it's right with any other branded cosmetic line.
You mentioned the grand opening coming up, and I assume you're referring to the renovation of the store, which is underway and will be done, I guess, in the autumn.
We're hoping for right after Labor Day.
Okay.
You know, we hired one of the best architectural and design firms in New York City. You know, we did a lot with Saks and other major department stores. I just felt, you know, Zitomer is 71 years old. We're in this location now for 35 years. We've done a little nips and tucks, but never a full facelift. And now it was time to, you know, ceilings, floors, walls, fixtures. It was a total gut job. Miraculously, we were able to move the first floor up to the second floor. And people really, they don't care. They just want to come into Zitomer no matter what it looks like. It should be hopefully completed by September, and it's going to be breathtaking.
And I assume this will enhance the shopping experience for consumers considerably.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's going to be very techy. Like my sales force will be walking around with iPads rather than going to cash registers. A lot of self-service, which I didn't necessarily believe in. I felt that everything should be behind the counter and we should help the customer. The younger age group, they don't want to be helped. They really want to serve themselves, take it and go. And I don't believe in a pressured sale. So I think it will work out if the customer wants help. Of course, you know, I think at any given time, at least 8 cosmeticians on the floor, which is quite a lot. And there to help you and service you, but it'll be very amenable to any shopper.
We've talked about a lot of the categories that make Zitomer different. Pharmacy is a common category that you share with other drugstore retailers. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that part of the business.
So we have 3 pharmacists at any given time, which is a lot, and we have about 4 techs. So that's a lot going on in the pharmacy department. And that's because, number one, yes, we're doing quite a bit of prescriptions, but the doctors in the neighborhood don't want to be put on hold. And all of the doctors have a rapport with my pharmacists, and the customers actually, I feel, come to the pharmacy before they go to a doctor. And they believe in our pharmacists. We're very service oriented. They even have my pharmacist cell phone numbers. You know? We're very on hand. We're there for the customer, you know, which is, everything is accessible, which is not that way in too many stores. And I think that's why Zitomer is known to be a very service oriented store.
So it's a small town pharmacy in the big city, I guess, huh?
Exactly.
You're a member of the NACDS Board of Directors. From a public policy perspective, what do you see as the challenges and opportunities for Zitomer and the industry as a whole?
Well, you know, as I said before, I think that a pharmacist is an essential part of everyone's daily living. And I think that we should continue to fight, you know, to be able to immunize going forward, whatever happens in the world, that it's very important to allow the pharmacists to do that. You know, it took, I don't know how many years. I think it was up until 5 years ago, we weren't allowed to do that. And then all of a sudden, thank you, God, you know, and now nobody goes to their doctor to be immunized. You know, they go like this and we give them their vaccines and they're very happy, and we should continue to do that. And the fact that I believe that a patient should get their prescriptions done at one particular pharmacy and not go to a lot, so that we know the interaction of their drugs, which is very important. Even their doctors call us up and say, well, what do you think if I give them this and they're taking that? You know, depend on us. And I think we should continue the future of pharmacy teaching that.
And I guess just the final question, now that the pandemic hopefully is beginning to recede, although that's questionable with the Delta variant, are you optimistic for a good year and things getting back to normal at Zitomer?
I think we still have a little bit of time until it does get back to normal. I was hoping for September, you know, schools are going to open up and people are going to come back from their summer homes, but I think we're still going to have to be cautious. I think they're still going to have to be wearing masks. But the world has to come back. I mean, we cannot continue to live the way we've lived. I know in New York, you know, Seattle got it first and we were second, and people around New York are protecting themselves, and we've learned to live and protect ourselves. So yes, I think there will be normalcy, but I think it's a good 6 months away.
In the meantime, though, you're in a position to serve your customers, right? You offer delivery options.
Oh yes, we have 6 men on foot, and we have 2 trucks at the moment. And the beautiful part of Zitomer is if your child has a temperature and you say you need it in 15 minutes, we're there. You know, I don't have drones, but we literally even go to the extent we'll put a kid in a taxi and get it to you.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yes.
I'm sure your customers are very appreciative. Sharon, thank you for your time. Always great to see you.
Thank you. You too. Be well. Stay safe.
Thank you.